Thank you to everyone who has joined our webinar, Ready, Set, NetSuite, a demonstration of NetSuite ERP. In today's webinar, we are going to give you a quick introduction to Luxent and to NetSuite, followed by a demonstration of the powerful features that NetSuite has. And we will close out with an overview of NetSuite pricing and packaging. If you have any questions as we move throughout the webinar, feel free to put them into the chat. And at the end of the survey, you can also, or end of the webinar, excuse me, you can put them in the chat as well. We will try to get them as quickly as we can. I'd like to introduce you to all of the speakers on the call today. Today we have Vivian Hina. She is Luxent's president and CEO, and Vivian has been in the ERP space for 20 plus years and knows the ins and outs of NetSuite. Next up, we have Ben Peterberg. He's the director of our NetSuite practice and chief solution architect. And Ben comes to us with 10 plus years of ERP experience and a wealth of industry best practices. And finally, myself, Brooke Geipus, a sales executive here at Luxent with 3 plus years in the ERP and NetSuite space. Alrighty, let's get started. First, I'd like to introduce you guys a bit to who Luxent is. So Luxent was founded in 2009 with our headquarters in Southern California. We have consultants all across the country. So we have consultants in all of the different time zones as needed. And we are currently celebrating our 15th year. Very exciting. We are a premier NetSuite partner, solution partner with the average consultant experience of 10 plus years in the ERP space. And we help companies with the selection, implementation, support as well of NetSuite, as well as third-party applications and development within the NetSuite platform. And at Luxent, we are a certified Suite Cloud development partner, which means that we can build applications on the NetSuite platform and sell them or distribute them on the NetSuite Suite application platform as well. And then we also have a Salesforce practice with applications on the Salesforce App Exchange. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Ben Peterberg to give you a little bit more background on NetSuite.
Thanks, Brooke. Happy to be with you all here this afternoon. So just a couple high-level NetSuite by the numbers here. NetSuite was built on the cloud from the very beginning. It was built on the cloud for the cloud back in the late 90s. And because they've been ahead of the technology from the very beginning, that's allowed them to really grow and expand their features and capabilities without having to work on any of the hardware transitions to move to the cloud, since they were there from the very beginning. And then obviously NetSuite got acquired by Oracle, which has really given them the capabilities to really expand a lot of the features and grow. You'll see them in over 217 countries and territories around the world. And this statistic did just get updated, but NetSuite is in over 38,000 customers around the world that are using NetSuite today, and over 6,000 new customers just in the last 12 months. So that is incredible growth trajectory, which really has been at Oracle's behest here, because Oracle has invested a lot of time, energy, and money into the product, and includes a lot of enterprise level features in this small startup to mid-size ERP. So some of the benefits that businesses gain with NetSuite, and these are benefits that companies realize whether they are in startup mode, if they're a mid-size, or even as they are growing and expanding into more enterprise size businesses. They will immediately realize a lot more visibility that they get within their supply chain, within their financials, that allows them to have more control over their business. Having that visibility and control then allows them to make decisions quicker and have a lot of workflows and other systems all integrated and built just in the NetSuite platform. So you have workflows, you have reminders that are all in the system for increased collaboration between your users in different areas of the business, which can really help keep people collaborating within one tool. A lot of organizations today might rely heavily on tools like Outlook, email, and SharePoint, but NetSuite really does have it all and is that single collaboration tool. And as a result, companies really do realize a lot of benefits with productivity increases as well. So NetSuite was designed first and foremost as a financial system first. So a lot of the financial features are really at its core what NetSuite is about. Starting with kind of the financial accounting and your general ledger, AR, AP, fixed assets, cash management. That is included in every single solution that you get with NetSuite. But then there are some very robust capabilities in NetSuite Financials that allow you to help resolve some of the challenges in your businesses around things like financial planning and revenue management, and some of the areas where, as you start to grow your business and expand internationally, can start doing things like multi-currency, multi-country, and you don't have to upgrade your system. There is no re-implementation. You continue to just build onto the basic blocks of NetSuite that you'd already be on to continue growing and expanding with these features into the future. So as I mentioned, NetSuite started out as more of a financial core system, but NetSuite, in partnership with Oracle, has really grown and expanded into all areas of your business. So whether you're using NetSuite initially for financials and inventory management, then you can start expanding out your sales processing. So there is a built-in CRM within the NetSuite platform where you can help acquire and grow customers. There are HR capabilities within NetSuite, so you can help manage your existing workforce and payroll in HR within NetSuite. In addition to those core financials with things like budgeting and planning and billing schedules and revenue management, all within the same core platform. So each of these areas can help inform other areas of your business so that you have the central tool for decision making. One of the other great things about NetSuite and their Oracle acquisition here was a lot of these business verticals have really been built out in NetSuite, where we have all of the leading practices and areas of maybe it's financial reconciliations, or there are ISO compliance within some of these various business verticals, but we have pre-built business verticals in NetSuite, whether you are just buying and selling goods, if you are buying raw materials and building product and manufacturing and then either distributing or selling direct to consumer, all of these business channels have a pre-built solution in them that you get on day one when you buy NetSuite. A lot of these reports and KPIs and pre-configuration come with your business vertical solution on day one. And that's what allows you to really start and hit the ground running with NetSuite right after you purchase NetSuite. So with that said, I am going to share a little bit of the platform with you here from a couple different perspectives. So I plan on kind of running through maybe a high-level senior executive, what they might see day in and day out in NetSuite. We'll pivot over to more of a CFO and a financial controller role in NetSuite and what their day-to-day might look like. And then we'll talk a little bit about the sales front and sales management and what kind of views and features they'll see in NetSuite as well. Right. So I'm sharing my whole screen because I may have some pop-ups come up occasionally here. But what you can see on my screen here is this is a URL. We mentioned there is, NetSuite was built in the cloud from day one. As long as you have access to the internet in a web browser, you can access NetSuite. So that can be on a desktop or laptop. It can be on a tablet or a handheld or even a mobile device. There is an app built for your cell phone as well, so that you have various access to reports and dashboards within your mobile device as well. So all you'll need to do to access the platform is open up a new browser, whether it's Edge or Chrome, Internet Explorer, and you just go into netsuite.com and you put in your credentials and you have access to your organization's data from anywhere around the world, as long as you have an internet connection. So the first page that it brought me to here when I logged into this demo account here is, this is within a role of a manufacturing senior executive. So everything I'm showing you here today is part of pre-built configuration that comes with various business vertical solutions. So these roles are predefined. So as a senior executive, I have certain capabilities for permissions for what I have access to and what I don't have access to. So it is kind of GRC compliant as well. And I also have not only access to specific things, but I have reminders, I have dashboard tiles, I have KPIs and shortcuts. All of these things within my home dashboard here were kind of pre-designed, pre-built for the majority of, in this case, a manufacturing organization senior executive. So on the upper left-hand side here, you'll see this reminders portlet, and these are clickable URL links. This is a lot of the internal workflow that NetSuite has. So these are reminding this executive that in this case, there are several expense reports to approve, or there are late work orders or sales orders, or there are leads or prospects or customers without activity recently. So any one of these is clickable. I can open it up and I can see the data directly, what this data is informing me about, and then I can take action on them if needed to. Some of those actions might be updating sales orders or work orders. They may be pushing out dates and expectations. They may trigger maybe a follow-up phone call with a customer. But all of the data is at my fingertips here. So I don't have to have just an email sent out to my executive that says, here's the list of things that are wrong today that need your attention. Everything is right here at my fingertips. So in this case, I clicked open. Here are the late sales orders. I can see this is just a pre-built dynamic data query that shows me which sales order, who it's for, the amount, the ship date, and how late is this sales order. And once again, I can continue drilling into some of the details all the way down to the individual transactions themselves to see maybe how many touches it had, or any other potential supply chain issues that might be happening. So in this case here, here's my sales order that is pending fulfillment, and we know that it is late already because that's the reminder. It told me it was supposed to ship on the 1st. And I can see here tools like allocated supply. Where is my system getting these materials for the customer? In this case, this is in inventory. It says I have it in inventory already. Sometimes this supply might be coming from a late purchase order or a late work order. So I have all of that visibility and those capabilities directly in my system. And all I need to do is just drill deeper into some of the reports to explain what might be happening here. I have these dashboard tiles. These are just quick links to open up some reports here. So maybe I want to look at my cash flow statement. I can just click one little button here and it will bring me to my cash position here. And if I want to modify any dates or anything, I can easily pivot and say, let's look at December through June. And if I'm in a multi-subsidiary or multi-country environment, I can start limiting some of the data I see here to really drill down and see, is this for the United States? Is this for Germany? Or I can start to do things like pivots as well. So some of the KPIs here that senior executives might be really more concerned with is going to be revenue, receivables and payables. What are my sales positions look like this period versus last period, or this year versus last year? At any point, I can easily update these KPIs to then change my range. So it's defaulting to the current period, but maybe I want it to look at, the fiscal year through the period. And I can just easily update those and it'll refresh on screen for me instantaneously. All of this data is real-time data. So as soon as I enter maybe a customer invoice, my revenue might increase immediately on my dynamic reports here. So some of these other various income by period trends, I have some graphical versions of different reports that I can add to my dashboard. These dashboards are all completely customizable. So as I mentioned, when you buy your solution, you have these ones, which are typically, sampled from 70 to 80% of similar customers use these kinds of reports. So that's how we pre-build some of this. But at any point, you're able to go in, set up, and then say, I don't want to see the income KPI. What other KPIs might I be looking at? Maybe it's a COGS KPI. Maybe it's a average inventory KPI. I can easily just swap out my my specific data set, and now I have COGS by period rather than looking at income by period. And maybe I just want to look at the year versus just a period. So very, very easy to manipulate and maneuver, which is what senior executives really, really like, is having everything they need right at their fingertips. And if I want to see something slightly different, a slight variation, maybe I want to see, rather than a bar graph, trend graphs. I can start to see some of these as well. And then let me do a quick pivot over here. These are all, I'm just hovering over my name here, and I have access to several different roles. Once again, each of these roles was kind of pre-designed and built for compliance. So I don't have to worry about building these roles from scratch and worrying about so-and-so created themselves as a vendor, paid themselves. All of these are GRC compliant roles. So if I'm going to pivot here to another role, here is my CFO role. And I have different reminders, different KPIs, and just a generally different dashboard when I log in here as my CFO role. So once again, similar look and feel. I have my reminders, which is my internal workflow and notifications on the upper left, but vastly different types of reminders. So as the CFO, I might have approvals that I'm responsible for, where I need to look at what bills are requiring my attention. So I simply click it, the link, and I can see several different bills out here. And if I want to drill into the details, I can, or I just click the box and submit to approve it. So let's say I'm looking up this bill here and I want to see what are the details on this bill. Just for one item, 90 quantity, here's the rate, here's the amount. I can look at GL impacts of the individual transactions, get a preview for what is the GL impact as soon as it posts when I hit approve. And then look at other things like payment methods or any other activities that I have kind of pre-configured here on this bill. I can also look at bill exceptions as well. Maybe this bill is coming to my attention to approve because I have, a three-way match problem. In this case, there isn't one of those. But the system gives me some of these tools to tell me maybe why I might be approving something if I have various workflows configured.
Hey, Ben, we have a question in the chat.
Yeah,
In the
absolutely.
Q&A. Oh, sorry. The question is, from a finance/accounting perspective, there are a couple questions. The first being, how manual is it to enter journal entries and AP invoices? And is there an ability to copy and paste that from Excel?
Yes, absolutely. So one of the things I really want to highlight here with some of the financial capabilities in NetSuite is, yes, very easy to enter journal entries, very easy to import journal entries. If I'm building something in Excel, maybe it's a more complex journal entry with lots and lots of lines. So here's just a quick link for like importing budgets, for instance. It's the same way with budgets or the same way with journal entries. I have my template, which is right here. I can click this link, gives me my template. I fill out the template, and then I just select the file. And I say what field should go where from my Excel file, and then one-step import. Typically, I may set up a pre-saved mapping. So if I'm using the same template over and over and over, I only have to do it once. And then every time I just load it and it works. So full CSV capabilities, CSV or Excel to be able to import things. Same thing with journal entry. So this is just a manual journal entry form. If I'm in a multi-subsidiary environment, I may have to select a subsidiary, or I can have that defaulted to me as well based on my role and what I have access to. But then it's literally as simple as finding my GL account, either by name or number. Type in my amount. Maybe I have some other financial segmentation like a department. So maybe this goes to operations here, and it's associated with a location, Boston. And maybe I'll look for an expense. I just tab over, and then it assumes that I'm doing a two-line entry, and it makes it balance here for me. And I can just save this, or I can memorize this. If I memorize my journal entry, I have the ability to set this up on a schedule to either auto post or remind me so that I have visibility and I can make a quick little alteration, then just hit a post button. So that's how easy journal entries work in NetSuite. But the other thing too I want to highlight is, while NetSuite is a financial system at its core, a lot of things like posting to AP, I may not want to post journal entries directly to AP. I may want to actually generate purchase orders or have vendor bills created, and those will have those financial impacts for me. So I have more of a full audit trail of what's happening and what explains my financials. So just to give you a preview here, So logged in here as my CFO, I have a couple of reports. So maybe I'll pull up a balance sheet report and an income statement report. And let me start with maybe an income statement first. I can click into my revenue. This is going to bring me down to a little bit more detail. But as you can see here, the revenue number is made up of all of these transactions in NetSuite. The vast majority of these transactions are invoices. There are a handful, there are some journal entries. In this case, this one was set up as a split. But once again, the underlying financials are built by the transactions in NetSuite. So I can drill all the way down from this financial statement into this individual customer invoice to explain the balance of my financials from that high level organizational wide P&L all the way down to an individual transaction if something looks, off. So yes, journal entries are easy to post. I can import them from a CSV, but at its core, we guide organizations to really use the full capabilities of NetSuite because it makes your audit a lot easier when you have a number that looks off, but you're able to drill into the number down to the individual transaction to explain some of those numbers. So in this case here, I saw from my revenue posted, drilled all the way down into this individual invoice. So this invoice is paid in full. It's for this customer. And here's what they bought. Here's the quantities and rates. And then I can see, obviously, here's the GL impact. So I posted to this revenue account associated with this product class, this revenue account with this product class. But that's what explains my financial report. So I know long-winded answer, but I hope that was helpful.
Thank you, Ben. And the second question of that question is, how easy is it to create custom financial reports?
Yeah, good question there. So what I'm showing here, this is just the out-of-the-box balance sheet report. Obviously, it's segmented in such a way where as I'm defining my various GL codes, I'm tagging those GL codes to various GL types, whether it's a other asset, current asset, current liability, and natively those are going to flow into a balance sheet like this, for instance. But I do have the ability to customize the balance sheet, and I can edit my layout here. I can say that I want certain formulas and start consolidating certain things and give them titles. So I can give a title of, here's the consolidated account I want to see here, give it a title. And then I can come up with add this plus this plus this. And that is what is under the label, assets custom. So I have the ability to define as well, what actually is my current liabilities. If I wanted to say, here's my accounts payable, it's all of these accounts, and display them in this order. But I could move these around. I could say I want 2,700 to come first before these in the actual financial statement. I can just flip around the account order. I can flip around the format, make it a bigger font if I want certain things to stand out. Or I can choose specific accounts to say, I'm considering everything with this in the description as account payable, but maybe I also am going to add another account to it. So I can add additional criteria. So maybe the account name also is, receivable. And this is how I can continue to customize my balance sheet in this case. And once again, this is purely a financial report. I have other reports in NetSuite where there are other dynamic data queries and tools to do the same thing, but even easier than that. So just to give you a little heads up. So this is a, sales by period. Every one of these graphs you see are data queries in NetSuite. So I can find some of these sales by data queries. And then I can edit them and I can add whatever criteria I want. I can add any fields that I want. So if I start creating my own fields and I want those to display in the report, I just add that field to my result. So here's my result. And I created a field called bomb quantity, right? I add that and I run it, and I may have my result when I drill into my report for bomb quantity. In this case, there isn't any field values, but all I have to do is just edit, add the field, and review it and see what results are coming in. Is that all the questions, Brooke?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Awesome. One of the other nice things you can do, so that was actually formally customizing and changing the layouts of some of these financial reports. But some of the other things you can do here too is, in this case, here's my balance sheet. Maybe I want to see my balance sheet by location for my US subsidiary. I just pull these values from a dropdown and refresh my report. And once this refreshes here, now I can see here's the value of my inventory at all of these different locations. So San Francisco, I have over 2.8 million in inventory. Denver, I have just under $1,500 worth of inventory. Maybe I have a co-man location or a virtual location. They have a little bit of my inventory. But just easy little pivots I can do here within my native report, my native balance sheet report, and doing simple little pivots or add simple little filters. So maybe I want to see a balance sheet report by product class. I want to see furniture, high-tech electronics, computing, just a couple of these classes. And now I'm further filtering my report here to see the value of these inventory assets for these classes. Or I can even do a pivot on my product class as well. So here's the specific inventory value of computer and peripherals, furniture, and high-tech electronics. And once again, if I want to see where is this $775 coming from for furniture, click on the value. It's going to bring me to a detailed report that shows me maybe one or multiple transactions. And I can drill all the way down into the individual. Here's one item receipt for $250. And this is where that inventory asset value came from. I received some from certain purchase orders into this location with this product class. Same thing can be done on the income statement as well. Same types of pivots. So for the US, for this time frame, I want to see a pivot by product class. Do a quick little refresh. And now I can easily see here's my revenue by product classification. Once again, I have a lot of revenue coming from network hardware. And I want to check to quick see if there's any anomalies here. Are there any large values here? This one here is a negative value credit memo, right? So somebody may have returned something, got a credit. And then I see there were a couple journals. Somebody manually posted journals to revenue in this case. So I may want to drill into that journal entry and see if I have some notes explaining what was happening here. So this is a beginning balance entry, right? So maybe they just went live and they had an opening balance. Right, once again, some KPIs for our CFO. They want to look at expenses, this period versus last period. Any one of these values, I can click in, drill into more detail to explain some of those. I have a couple of requisitions to approve. I have maybe my period close checklist. So as I'm closing my books each period, I want to go through my quick checklist of what I need to do. Lock AR, lock AP, lock all GLs. And I want to look to see, do I have any negative inventory in the system that needs to be reconciled? Do I have to look at any cross-company charges if I'm in a multi-subsidiary environment? Right, now I'll quick pivot over to maybe a supply chain manager's day-to-day here, what they may see in NetSuite. So as a supply chain manager, once again, I have my reminders on the upper left hand that really guide what information am I being alerted for, what workflows are in place to trigger notifications for me. As my supply chain manager, I've got a notification here that I've got 14 lots that are nearing expiration. So maybe I have some material that requires lot controls with expirations. Maybe I am concerned around some cycle counts. So the warehouse did some cycle counts and they need me to approve those cycle accounts. And then after I approve, the system can auto adjust my inventory position. Maybe I have some contracts with some vendor contract management. Or my work orders and assemblies. Is planning telling me I need to order more items here? So here's my reminder for items to order. So I have several different kind of planning methods. I have just a simple reorder point, and here are all of the items that planning is telling me where I have preferred stocking levels, and I've triggered some reorder points. And here's how many I should be buying of each of these items. Then I can easily just check a couple of these boxes here. I want to buy 3 of these items because they're at their reorder point. Notice they're all the same vendor. I can just submit. And what NetSuite's going to do is it's going to create consolidated purchase orders by vendor for all of the outstanding supply planning triggered purchases for me. So this is just a batch process. It consolidates everything. And then upon completion, I'm going to have some purchase orders now that I can either approve if I have an approval process or send out to the vendors themselves and communicate my expectation for what goods I need to receive and by when. I have visibility into some of these supply plans. So NetSuite does have the capability of generating demand plans for me and can run an MRP process overnight. And then I can review the MRP processes here and validate the recommendations and push those over to procurement or to my manufacturing team to build products. I have my own KPIs here around inventory positions or orders this month versus last month. How are my returns doing this month versus last month? The value of work orders being completed over time. And then I have easy reports to pull up. So inventory turns, inventory back orders, inventory profitability. Some of these reports are just saved little shortcuts from my report. And here is, for instance, all my back orders. If I've got MRP set up correctly, MRP should have already suggested, raw material purchases for some of these work orders that are back ordered where I'm missing material, or if sales orders, some of these are back ordered as well. But once again, I can drill down to individual orders themselves. So in this case, here's a sales order that had some fulfilled, some is back ordered. And I can see what's happening on individual transactions as well to see, are there any allocated to it at the moment? Earlier, we talked about the capability of having NetSuite run allocation before you actually physically receive things. In this case, there is nothing allocated to it. So it means I don't have any work orders that are open that are planning on building this for me, or I don't have any open purchase orders if this is a purchased item that I'm trying to send to a customer. My inventory profitability report, I can see here, obviously broken down by various items here. And I have different columns in here that I could add as sort, or I can add additional columns if I have any custom fields on here I want to see values of, and kind of roll up the reports by some of those other fields as well. But these out of the box here are looking at profitability by item and showing kind of a percentage of the total revenue. So if I have any specific items that represent a high percentage, 83% of my total revenue is coming from just this one material here. Once again, I want to see, oh, it's really just one invoice that explains this value. And then some of my metrics here around inventory turns, cost of goods, value of inventory. Here's days of inventory on hand. Once the system is able to come up with how much inventory I go through over time. Weekly orders trend. And then some of my planning alerts. Do I have late work orders or late purchase orders for planning that I haven't had pushed out of the planning workbench? And then lastly, just take a peek at our sales manager's perspective of NetSuite here. So logged in here as a sales manager, kind of the same general look and feel of my dashboard. I have my reminders on the upper left-hand side, informing me of any internal workflows I have or opportunities to close here in this case, customers with no activity in the past month. These are dynamic data queries. So I may go into some of these customers and I may perform activities like create a follow-up task for somebody. Maybe I can schedule a phone call for somebody or create notes on the customer for my sales rep. And then within any particular customer record here, there is like a full customer dashboard as well. So this is all of the financial and basic information and specific reports just within an individual customer itself. So here I can see what was my forecast, current forecast, and what was my forecast last fiscal year for the same customer. What is my AR aging for this customer? I can pull up some of these direct reports right from the customer. Or this is where I can create tasks. Here's some tasks. I can create a new task and say, Tracy, can you do a follow-up phone call for so-and-so customer? And then that task, after I create it, they can get assigned and have an email notify them, in addition to having a reminder here of, I have 5 tasks that are due this week. So some of that workflow we can keep out of emails, or it can supplement email with dashboard reminders. So here's a couple of the out-of-the-box reports here. There's a forecast, open quotes, open orders. So here are all of my open quotes. I can see based on these statuses, a lot of them are expired. Some of these aren't. Some of these are just expiring at the end of the month. It's in a proposal state, $22,000 for Smith Supplies. Once again, from the high level report, I'm drilling deeper and deeper into the underlying data, all the way until I get to, in this case, the specific quote. So this one's in an open status for Smith Supplies. It is associated with a specific project. So NetSuite does have project management capabilities as well. And we are pitching a service for a project. And it is open outstanding with a particular probability associated with it. All of these quotes and these opportunities and these forecasts are creating financial forecasts in NetSuite. So here is my calculated forecast by sales rep. I can drill up to, the regional sales manager, the local sales manager. I have these drill down capabilities here, all the way down to the individual rep. And then I have the capability of having best case, worst case, most likely type of scenarios built out here. So I can see what my forecast looks like from various scenarios. And then, of course, the canned reports for sales by. So sales by rep, sales by item, sales by customer. You can do promotions in NetSuite and see how sales are being impacted by promotions in the system. And then I can look at reports like, are we shipping orders late? Maybe I need to notify my customers when there's late shipped orders. So I can open up some of those reports. And I can do some of this without necessarily getting an email from somebody saying, hey, this is going to be late. I'm just simply pulling up the report and I'm being proactive with my customers to say, hey, Alpha Demand, I've got several of your orders that are behind. They're 3 days late. And oh, by the way, I can go into the individual order and tell you what's happening as well. So maybe I have some allocated supply, but that allocated supply is on an inbound container that's going to be received in 2 more weeks. So as you can see here, NetSuite has a lot of capabilities, and it has a lot of functionality that allows you to collaborate your entire organization on one platform and help you make decisions and be proactive about your business. In addition to those financial capabilities that give you incredible audit capabilities to really, really help you close your books quicker and to spend less time with auditors. So I'm going to turn it over to Brooke here and Vivian, where they'll talk about some pricing.
Thank you, Ben. All right. Vivian, on over to you.
Thank you. I'm just going to try to turn on my camera. I think it's not letting me though, Brooke. I'll just kind of change this up a little bit. But you can, I know we don't have much time. Ben, you did a great job there. Just to give you a quick overview on the pricing, and if you want to go into more details with either the product side or on the pricing side, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. So on the, when to buy NetSuite, we have customers all over the board, from just starting, opening up the doors and starting with a new product and wanting to start out with the efficiencies and a good platform like NetSuite, to customers coming off of legacy applications and really just wanting more efficiency, less cost, less overhead, less IT staff, and really looking to make a change into a different type of platform, and more flexible, open platform. So all over the board there. But if you're preparing for growth, if you're seeing that you're needing more from your financial systems, if you need more control, if you need more visibility, those are the times when you really need to get an ERP system in place. We've often seen companies do it a little bit too late, when they've already experienced a lot of growth and they're in that growth mode, and then we're trying to put in a system at the same time that they're growing. It can be done, and we do it all the time, but it just makes it a little bit challenging. So you can go forward. I can't stress this slide enough. So when you do decide to buy an ERP, I think not the ERP that you select is important, but also the company that you buy it from. They can help you with negotiating good pricing and ensuring you're getting the right configuration, ensuring that configuration isn't you're not getting oversold, trying to make sure they're looking out not only for you to get into the product, but into a really good contract with the manufacturer of the product. And just building a relationship, right? So Luxense works, you're getting a partner that is experienced. We are going to ensure you're into a very good contract. We're going to ensure your configuration is right for your size. And we're going to build that long-term relationship, which I think is the most important thing. When you buy from NetSuite Direct, the NetSuite sales rep will sell you NetSuite, but then your account gets passed over to an account management team and to a third-party provider. So, you're going to be working with Luxent not only through the beginning stages when you first select it, but through the full life of your implementation and ongoing growth. So it's super important, and it's a game changer for the experience and the success that you have. So I can't stress that enough, that really looking at the provider of who you're buying that software from is critical. You can go forward. So this really won't give you how much will it cost your company, but it gives you a good model of how it's structured. So, right, so there's 3 components to when you're buying NetSuite. It's really, obviously, it's a subscription-based model. So you look at the number of users, and they do have different types of users based on use and in what they're going to be doing within NetSuite. So we need to take a look at that. We need to take a look at what your industry is, and if there's a lot of NetSuite is packaged together, where CRM comes with all of the different models and, advanced financials, advanced inventory. It just, what do you really need in your package, and based on your industry and based on your needs. And then really just looking at the platform. So what platform? So what volume are you? Are you it's just starting out? Are you a mid-tier company, or are you a company at a higher tier with higher volumes and multiple subsidiaries and just at a different level? So there's different things that affect the pricing. We are happy to do a 30-minute call to go through the pricing. We're happy to do a call that answers any specific questions on the product. Ben went through a lot of the product, but it truly was a cursory level of the application, and he can go into specifics on any area. So we're happy to do that for you and set up that call. So reach out, do a 20-minute call, do the budgetary. A lot of companies set something up with us and then do budgetary pricing for next year, or if they're looking to do something this year, we'd be happy to work with you. And thank you for your time, and be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Great. Thank you, Vivian. Like Vivian said, we are happy to set up a 20-minute call. We will be following up after this webinar with an email to answer any questions that you guys might have. If there was anything that was not discussed that you were looking to see today, we would love to get on a call with you guys and be able to show that to you. If you would like a copy of our NetSuite pricing guide, after this call, there is a survey that will go out. In that survey, you can select to get a copy of this pricing guide, and we will send it to you. And we will be able to learn a little bit more about you and your business. We do not have any time right now for any extra questions at the moment, but if you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or follow up with an email, and we will be happy to answer those questions for you. Thank you, everyone, for your time today, and we look forward to speaking with you soon.
Great. Thanks.